So, sir, my first question is that who was Mahsa Amini and what kind of socio-economic background her family came from, who her brother was, and why her name was changed from Jina Amini to Mahsa Amini as she grew up? That's the first question for you. Thank you.
Yeah, so Mahsa Amini is from Saghez, Iran, which Saghez is in the Kurdish province of Iran. Her family, see, here's the thing: her family, they were very hardworking people. And the thing about her is the reason they changed it to Gina. Gina is her Kurdish name, but Massa is her Farsi name. So a lot of people get it mixed and confused. But even when my family, when we found out what happened to her, my grandmother used to say, "No, her name is Gina. It's Gina Amini." But I want to make it very clear that Massa Gina Amini, it doesn't matter whatever you want to call her. She was a daughter of Iran, and her, and that is what her parents want her to go by. Was she's the daughter of Iran. What happened to her was murder, and it was martyrdom, and that's what her parents are. They're hardworking people in that area where she's from, and that's the thing. Uh, they are patriots for a free Iran.
So, sir, the next question is that since when was hijab mandatory in Iran? And apart from hijab, what are the other attires for women that are mandatory in Iran right now? And why are they mandatory? Do men also have any kind of mandatory attire to wear in office or in personal life?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, in 1979, the Islamic coup, as I call it, took place. Even though, unfortunately, the world calls it a revolution, it was never a revolution. It was a coup. So, when Khomeini took power, one of the first things he did was made the hijab mandatory. Excuse me. And that means is women have to be covered; they cannot show their hair. And that was 45 years ago on February 11, 1979. And for men, men cannot wear shorts outside, so they have to be wearing trousers or anything that is deemed Islamic approval. So what you have here is you have a regime that is telling women, who, by the way, are treated like second-class citizens, that they have to cover themselves up. They have to quote unquote look modest because it's all about chastity and modesty. And that is the foundation of why Mahsa Amini got martyred for what happened to her. And essentially, you have a regime that uses religion to dictate to women in Iran what they can wear and what is deemed approved by the state. And that is what you call an authoritarian Islamic dictatorship. So men also have to adhere by certain customs. They cannot be around women. They cannot, shake hands. They cannot play music. They cannot co-ed with each other. And that's what you have in an Islamic regime. Is that this is why the norms are so out of touch with most people in the West, because since 1979, people just know the Islamic regime for what it is.
Thank you, sir. Is it all these tenets of how one should wear what and where? Is it drawing from any Sunnah, Hadith, Quran, or any part of Shia Islam? And my second question is, how is the Kurdish culture? Now, what exactly is the Kurdish culture? And who are the Kurds? And the second question is that do Kurds also have this kind of attires which are imposed by any authority?
So the Kurdish culture has its own culture, has its own distinctness of what it is to be a Kurd. But the Islamic regime does not allow Kurdish culture to flourish. During the previous regime, it was a lot better. And the thing we got to understand is that the Kurdish people of Iran are indigenous to Iran, okay? We've been there since the beginning, but we understand that our founder, Cyrus the Great, our king who founded what it is today, Iran, was part Persian, part Kurdish. The attire is very different from what the Islamic regime wants. Majority of Kurdish people are actually Sunnis. They also have a religion called Yarsan, which is the native Kurdish religion, if that makes sense. Also, you got to understand that the Islamic Republic, the Islamic regime, has been so prejudiced against the Kurdish people of Iran, because we are the only ones who have said we do not want to follow a theocratic regime. We're the only ones that want to live in peace. We want to have our own language, our own culture, our own music. But, the thing is that this regime does not discriminate in their repression. It doesn't matter if you're Kurdish. It doesn't matter if you're Persian or if you're Baluch, and that's the thing that I think your listeners should understand, is that we are united in overthrowing this dictatorship. And the attire, it's all because of the culture before the Islamic regime. And that's what I think should be very important and, dare I say, prevalent to that question. But it's a great question, and I think that people should understand why the Kurdish people of Iran want to be free, want to be united, and when there's a new government, there will be peace and tranquility.
گیرم که در باورتان به خاک نشستم و ساقه های جوانم از ضربه های تبرهاتان زخم دار است. با ریشه چه میکنید؟ گیرم که بر سر این بام بنشسته در کمین پرنده‌ای پرواز را علامت ممنوع میزنید. با جوجه های نشسته در آشیانه چه میکنید؟ گیرم که میزنید، گیرم که میبرید، گیرم که میکشید.